All right, welcome to week 10, which is part one of disaster planning. This is part one of a four-part series. And this week, we're going to talk about kind of what goes into a plan. And then in weeks 20 and 30, we're going to talk about the different pieces of the plan. And 40 is going to be that execution. One thing that I want to note is that though we're talking about disaster planning, this is really just planning in general. So if you want to use the same stuff that you learn in here, to create a plan to expand your business in some way, shape, or form, recommend you do it because it's all kind of the same thing. So we're going to talk about the who, what, when, and why of disaster planning right now. Before we get into that, I want to mention that we literally wrote the book on disaster planning. It's called Seriously Now What? A Small Business Guide to Disaster Preparedness. The link's available in the in this week's session, and you can get it on our website as well. So a lot of what we cover here is going to be similar to what the book, but the book is obviously much longer and going to have a lot more detail than what we're going to talk about here. So quick brief history of who we are and why we wrote the book. So back in March of 2020, Julie and myself found ourselves unemployed like a lot of people did. And we kind of just started calling around to friends and family who own small businesses to see if there's anything that we could do to help. We know a lot of people who own small businesses. So it was just kind of like, offering up our services for free, just, whatever it is that we could do, help you get through, this pandemic. And then that kind of did turn into our actual business is, helping small business owners improve upon their business and just grow stronger. And while we were doing that, we were like, hey, we've got all this information, we know all this stuff, and we've got these skills, let's write a book. So we wrote a book. So the focus of this is going to be disaster preparedness, and that's the focus of the book. But like I said, you can use this for any kind of planning as well. And when it comes to just preparations in general, like the first thing that you want to do is you want to focus on just keeping your business afloat. So fix all the things that are broken before you start growing, because that's one thing that we've seen in our careers is a lot of people, they grow, whether it's intentional or not, and they're just not prepared. They don't have that strong foundation. They don't have all the pieces that they need, and it kind of, a lot more things break than go well. So that's what the planning is very important. So the why and when that you should be creating disaster plans. So that it should be obvious that being prepared is critical for surviving any situation. So that's in business, that's in life. Having the skills, the knowledge, the tools available will make your life that much easier, and increase your chances of success. So this is all about being proactive to any potential change that's coming your way. And this could, again, be good or bad changes coming your way. And you'll, throughout the course of this course and this disaster planning, you're going to get better at knowing how to identify threats. And we're going to cover some of that. It's going to be next week in the environmental scanning section. But overall, you're just going to hopefully look at the world a little bit different and be better prepared to, for anything that's coming your way. Well, another thing that's obvious, the only time that you can really prepare for something bad is before it happens. So when the times are good or when you have downtime or whatever, that's when you want to start planning for for the downtimes, the bad things. So it's true that you can create and execute plans on the fly, but it's way better to be proactive than reactive. And that's what most of us, pretty much everybody was reacting to the pandemic. And again, very few people could have seen that coming. But there's a lot of things that you can plan for and a lot of ways that you can make your business stronger now, so that if something unexpected happens later, you're a little better prepared for it. And then when you're doing your disaster planning, so it's a good idea to just kind of meet with your team regularly. And that's, every 6 months, every 12 months, whatever it is, to discuss potential problems. And again, these could be very, very specific events, or they could be kind of more broad events. If you want to look back to your SWOT analysis, that was in week 8. you can look at the threats, and that might give you a good idea of some things that you could plan for. So that's it for this video. Next, we're going to get into the who and what of disaster planning, and we'll get you going.